first StarCraft II tournament, and you get like just like a paper sheet, like, oh, I'm so excited to see who my first opponent is, and then you see SeoHyun light. You're like, oh man, I'm so dead. Even if you've never seen a game of this guy, you just know he's good. And then he looks, and then he shows up and he looks like effort, and then you're like, oh god. The reason why I say that is because we were watching a little bit of the OSL the other day, and I just think that effort looks like one of those guys that if you look at him, you know that he's extremely good at StarCraft. You don't have to know anything about StarCraft. Just look at him and you see him sitting in that booth. You're like, man, that guy's good. And he is, man. He's getting really good in StarCraft II already. It's crazy.
So what would you think if you showed up at a tournament and you sat down across your first opponent and it was Bling?
I would be like, man, I got this. It's like that party boy. I'll give him a couple of shots and I got this. But then, man, you see SeoHyun light. And you're like, oh man, I'm in trouble. In all seriousness though, I did watch SeoHyun in his games against Crank. It was a very unfortunate accident actually in that game 1 on Entombed Valley, which turned into kind of a base race. And I think Crank could have won it if he would have microed his Blink Stalkers very well. The only problem is he had barely any workers and his opponent had 6 workers. His army was a little bit smaller, but with excellent micro, maybe he could have done it. But he also didn't have high ground vision, so it would have been hard. But right when that phase of the game was about to start, Crank had a big lag spike, lost 6 Stalkers and then disconnected. So unfortunately, that did not go his way, and we never know how it ended. And SeoHyun Light also managed to win the second game. A little unfortunate for Crank, Ben, because Crank is one of those guys that I would love to see in Season 4 as well.
He's a good player. He's got a nice fan following. Of course, Total Biscuit sending him to this next MLG, so huge shout out to the Cynical Brit for his great support of StarCraft and of esports and of gaming. Esports hero.
Much love for Total Biscuit.
He's a boss, man.
You know what I do find kind of funny is that a couple of these guys who are like really super popular and like super big, they seem to like always argue with each other a little bit. Like a couple of snaps here, like James Too Good Heart, and of course love to give some snaps out as there as well here and there. I think it's so funny because they're all such good guys and they all have their heart in the right place. Yeah. And all try to help out these sports. It just seems like sometimes a little clash of the egos. Don't you think so? Do you find it funny?
It happens sometimes.
I always have a big smile on my face when I hear Too Good talking, and I was like, oh, James.
I always smile when I hear Total Biscuit talking. It's because like the voice he uses in his YouTube videos is the same voice he uses in conversational English. So like I remember I was like talking to him one day. I was like, "Hey, Total Biscuit, you play a lot of games. Can you recommend something that I should play?" He's like, "You should try Dungeons of Dreadmore. It is a fun roguelike game with some nice graphics. It's really worth checking out." And I was like, "Okay, thanks, Total Biscuit. You're very welcome, sir."
He's awesome. I met him last year at Gamescom. Unfortunately, this year we were not at Gamescom. I hope that all the people who did go to Gamescom, I guess a lot of, if you are at Gamescom, you're probably not watching this, but the people that did go, I hope they're having a lot of fun. It turned out to be a really, really great event. Anyways, Ben, let's focus on our game as we see quick fast expand, of course, and he's going to follow it up with a factory for SeoHyun Light, and Spanishiwa going up to 3 hatcheries, Ben, very, very quick, delaying his extractors, old Spanishiwas though.
No, this is the, this Spanishiwa, you can look at his play and you can say, this guy hasn't changed a damn thing in a year. And what's really crazy, Kevin, is that he was so ahead of the metagame because that's how a lot of people play these days. You can literally say he was the first, and it's true.
Yeah, I agree with you. But what I always think is funny then is that it's kind of sad that sometimes people create a strategy, then other people start going with it, and suddenly they get a lot better with that strategy. And that's kind of what happens often, which is a little bit sad.
Yeah, it's just it's how the game evolves, man. Stefano was not the first person to make roaches. He was just the first person to make roaches overpowered.
True that. Economy-wise, it's looking quite good for Spanishiwa, but we do see that third orbital, or at least command center, going up as well. For SeoHyun Light, how many Hellions do we? Actually, we do not have a single Hellion yet on the map.
First 2 are about to pop out.
Yep, and then the Starboard is on the way as well, and the Tech Lab is already there, but the Overlord Scout from Spanishiwa is perfect, as he's going to see everything.
Beautiful Overlord Scout. This is, guys, if you're watching this from home and you're a Zerg player, this is a great spot to sacrifice that Overlord, because it's very, very often that we see Terran players positioning their buildings in this area, this like upper half of this base. Sometimes back there where Kevin just boxes, another good place to send an Overlord. Spanishiwa, the perfect Overlord sacrifice, knows that Banshees are coming.
I think like the whole like scouting and hitting of bases has kind of evolved as well. There's like a meta game. We used to just build it in the back of the base because that was smart, but then everybody started to sacrifice stuff in the back of the base. But we see 2 Hellions making their way into the natural. They could have got big shots off, but that's not going to work. So great defense by Spanishiwa. And then suddenly people started to build their buildings over here because the Overlord always flew in over here. So now they start flying it always over here as well, because that's kind of where you expect the buildings, and they are. So I think you have to go back to where you started, Ben, and build them in the back of your base.
Yeah, man.
It's like the circle of life.
Behind the mineral line.
Now you have to go back to the obvious spot. Man, this is
right at the front where these Marines are standing.
Yeah.
That's where you put all your tech.
Right here, man.
They'll never scout this.
SeoHyun, by the way, Ben, is really going to have to make something happen right now with these Hellions, as he's 20 workers behind already. This is a nice wall by Spanishiwa, and it will hold, or at least, well, the Hellions that do go through are so low on HP that I don't think...
Really nice micro from Spanishiwa. Pulls those drones perfectly, surrounds the Hellions.
Not going to be able to kill a whole lot.
Loses one drone for, what, 4 or 5 Hellions?
He's still 15 workers ahead, and 5 more drones are on the way. There is a Banshee idling in the middle of the map right now. But that's great defense so far by Spanishiwa, who do not do a single thing wrong.
Playing some great StarCraft. I talked to him last week, actually, when he played in the Gauntlet. He lost very quickly to, I think it was Select. But I had 5 minutes to just sit there and chat with him. He said, hey, I've been practicing a lot. I think my ZVT is as good as it's ever been. And, you know, there was a time when Spanishiwa was beating some really great Terrans. And for him to say that, that's really promising for Spanishiwa fans. So he's looking really good in the opening moments of Ohana.
And for Quantic fans.
That's also very true.
I think he's even living in the Quantic training facility right now, right? In San Diego.
I can not confirm nor deny that, because I'm not sure.
I believe I read a tweet about that, but correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but I believe that he's currently residing there. Ben, once more, SeoHyun Light is really going to have to make something happen. This time not with Hellions, but with these Banshees. While we also have a lot of links streaming across the map. Oh,
and running away. Easily could have killed those Marines if they had just attacked, but instead saying, you know what? Today I will show mercy.
Good job right there by Spanishiwa. Did not panic, did not cancel that spore, let it finish, and instead it will finish. This time a couple of Banelings in the mix as well. Is SeoHyun Light paying attention? Yes, he is.
But still, Banelings will manage to get some good connections, and Spanishiwa going to get up into this natural. SeoHyun's going to take some damage, I'm afraid. Banelings don't want to touch. Oh, okay, well that works.
Oh, that's a great surround for all these Zerglings.
Really nicely. Ling's even going to, they could get right up into the main base. Banshees are getting dealt with in the natural as well.
Looks so silly when the depot is lowered to attack it. But that is what's happening right now. More and more links are streaming across the map. 2 spawning pools are on the way for Spanishiwa, so I guess he lost one to the Banshees, but he's killing so many SCVs.
Yes, he is. Really, SeoHyun just needs to put these SCVs on hold position. He doesn't have to lose this many. 18, 20 workers, 21 workers down, and more are going to fall as there are Zerglings all up in SeoHyun's base. And
with the matter of fact, SeoHyun will hold eventually, but he lost so many SCVs. Spanishiwa killed 32 workers.
Wow, 80 harvesters to 21 right now. This is a difficult spot to say.
I'm a little bit sad that Spanishiwa did not send a single set of links over here, because he could have killed even more then. He did end up losing his spawning pool, but he rebuilt it twice, so that's probably the last time that's going to happen. Now we do see the Spire is on the way as well. Great play by Spanishiwa. The movement of those Zerglings over here was just crucial. The moment he swarmed around those Marines and also got the links on top of that depot, that just sealed everything.
You are so right, Kev. And right now, Spanishiwa, he's only 40 supply ahead, but we've got to realize that about 50 of that is in drones. So the armies are actually, his army's actually a little bit smaller than SeoHyun's. That said, he's got 20 Lings in production, a lot of Banelings.
Yeah, by the time that this army crosses the map, that wouldn't be the case. So I don't think it really opens the window. Spanishiwa needs a couple of Overlords, and he's producing them right now, I believe. Yeah, he has 1-1 already. As we see, 2-2 is more than halfway done. This just looks so great. This can almost not go wrong.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And not only does Spanishiwa have all this great stuff going for him, he's banked up a ton of gas. And as I say that, he morphs 20 Banelings. So instead of being able to make 11, 12 Mutas, he'll be able to make 7 or 8. But it's still going to be very strong when SeoHyun's in a position where he can't really afford to build turrets or spread out.
Need more OVs. Spanishiwa really needs to make a few more Overlords. Well, he has 15 free supply right now, but he still has a little bit of money, so I guess the moment he makes those Mutas, he's going to be supply blocked again. Well, he just makes 30 links, then he's going to be supply blocked too.
And frankly, he might just only need those links. He's setting up a big attack here. Zerglings are going to come. Is it enough Zerglings?
If the Banelings get great detonations, then it is.
Not microing at all there.
Well, it's a lot of Banelings, man. It's just too many Banelings to micro against, but there are no remaining Zerglings. Tank is going to siege up, and he actually will be fine.
Turn around, like, oh. You want to see this third base go down? Are you not entertained, Kev?
I never said I was not entertained, as these Banelings roll in and kill quite a few SCVs.
It was ridiculous. Nice spread there by SeoHyun. Micros the SCVs really well. But Spanishiwa just running all over the Korean Terran right here. He's killing tons of workers, tons of Marines, tons of supply depots.
One of those fights is just not fair. Spanishiwa killed 78 SUVs in this game. That's insane.
It is.
That's great. It is great.
It is great.
Don't tell me it's not great, man.
It's great, Kev, except it's only 42 SUVs that he killed.
No, it's
He has
not.
78 drones out.
Oh, I know. Still cray.
It is still cray.
Sorry, guys. He killed 42 SUVs.
Happens
Still,
to the best of us.
still a whole lot.
At least you didn't say Belarus is in Spain.
No. I will never say that either. 17 mudas are on the way right now. Spanishiwa had enough of bailing Ling. Well, I also love the creep threat and positioning of overlords, by the way. But just look at Spanishiwa's point of view. Can you ever try to drop this guy? No.
No, very, very unlikely. SeoHyun's decision for coming back here, build more command centers. Going to go up to his 4th command center in spite of the fact that he's only really mining off of 2 bases. And, well, Spanishiwa is just going to come for one final crushing attack. 19 banelings being morphed. He's got those mutas out that we talked about.
And they have +2 upgrades now as well. I'm not sure if they had that in the previous fight, but this time it will be ready for sure. SeoHyun is almost going to have +2 armor for his bio units as well. These mutas are going to fly in and like, there's no orbital. There is no spoon, Ben.
That's okay. They can still be used to crush this natural. Spanishiwa is going to make more banelings.
Yeah, so perhaps a little bit afraid didn't have enough banelings. Oh, there's one Viking in the mix. That Viking was only a Torban. Missile turrets going up left and right. Spanishiwa doing a good job at delaying those turrets, even picking up the turret.
Banelings are done, Kevin. I think it's just a matter of time before.
Oh, the mutas really want that Viking.
He goes rolling.
He's focusing the factory over there. Viking did still almost die due to splash
kept all
damage.
17 mutas alive though, so.
Yep. Yeah, it takes a little while for a Viking to kill a muta. Poor Terran, man. Poor Terran, man.
And this is it, Kev. Spanishiwa finally gonna just go for it. Zerglings, banelings, and mutas. Oh my. I think SeoHyun is gonna die. GG is called. Spanishiwa takes game number 1 and will be feeling pretty damn confident moving into the second game. He leads 1-0. Map number 2 is going to be in Toon Valley. So stick around.
Stay tuned.
We'll be back. Don't go
for
anywhere.
the next rally.
StarCraft Rally, Pally, Mally.
And Toon Valley for the next rally. Man, I finally